What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be going through and ranking the top 10 point guards of this last season with some, mixtures of exactly why they were top 10, in my opinion. So if you guys do enjoy this video, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on the road to 12,000 subscribers. And comment down below which ones you disagree with, who you'd add, who you'd take out, where you'd move them around in this top 10. I've been seeing in the last video, some people have been making comments, so I like that. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a debate. And again, this is kind of opinion based, of course, because some people might have other point guards higher than some, and so on and so forth. But with that being said, let's get right on into this. So at number 10, now this right here has a bunch of just different guards. That way you guys don't know exactly who's coming up next. It's going to be a bit of a surprise and a shocker of some being here and others being in these spots. But at number 10, I do have Mr. Trae Young. Now, obviously we know that Trae Young is one of the most talented shooters in the NBA. He can score the ball so efficiently offensively, but let's be honest, he did have a bit of an off year. He still has that offensive game, and his defense did improve a little bit, but it's still got a lot to go in order for him to crack that top 5 area, in my opinion. Last season, he averaged 25, 2, and 10, and so, averaging a double-double is pretty solid, but of course, that didn't help when it came to the Atlanta Hawks' success in the playoffs. So that is the reason I have him at number 10. At number 9, I have a guy who came back off of injury. That would be Mr. Jamal Murray. Now, Jamal, of course, great playmaker. We know he can score the ball really highly efficiently. He plays with one of the best players in the world. He still showed his skills this year. It seemed like a bit of a weaker year for him. He averaged 21, 4, and 6. Now, of course, the one big thing that stood out to me was in the playoffs when they played the Timberwolves, right? The Timberwolves made him panic. He got double teams from, Alexander Walker and then guys like McDaniels and Anthony Edwards, and he looked panicky. Now, as the series continued, that definitely he gained that confidence back and calmness to his game. But at the beginning of that series, I noticed that. Now, of course, that's not the whole reason. He just, 21, 4, and 6, that's just what he averaged. It just seemed like he had a good year, just not a great year to be higher on this list, especially since some of these other guys made huge leaps in their offense and defensive game. Speaking of a down year, this next guy, Damian Lillard. Now, Lillard obviously made the transition over from Portland over to the Bucks. There was going to be a bit of a period of a gelling phase. Now, it never seemed all year that he was able to kind of get into a groove, a comfortable groove at least. He had a game here, a game there that were solid, but overall with the Bucks' entire season, they did not look great. It just looks like it didn't fit in any sort of way. A lot of people kept saying Giannis and Dame need to be doing more pick and roll because the two of those, when they did pick and roll together, were dominant. He averaged 24, 4, and 7, which is pretty solid for having a bit of a down year. But we just have such high expectations for Damian Lillard because we can see so much better. I do expect this next season to be a little bit better for him as he is progressing with the Milwaukee Bucks and as they are building chemistry over there between him and Giannis. I hope that they can definitely play around more with the pick and roll action. At number 7, this one might shock some people. He might be a little high on some people's, or on my list specifically. It is Tyrese Maxey. Now, Tyrese Maxey, the huge reason that, I had a lot of question marks on Tyrese Maxey's game, and then the playoffs showed up. And him putting up solid, great outing efforts, he solidified him as a star, and a lot of that was without Joel Embiid. Now, of course, when you have your star, i.e. Jamal Murray, you're relatively going to play well because you have your number one option. Now, what happens when you take him away, that number one option? Tyrese Maxey didn't shy away, and he still put up numbers. Yes, they didn't have a whole lot of playoff success, and a lot of that had to do with injuries, and then, let's be honest, donuts from other guys like Tobias Harris. But Tyrese Maxey showcased his worth, showcased why he deserved the bag, averaging 26, 3, and 6. That's a great outing for a guy that is solidifying him as one of the up-and-coming stars in this league. Now, at number 6, I have good old De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox, one of the clutchest players in the league. Great mid-range game. He can create his own shot, get to the basket whenever he wants. He also plays with one of the best rebounders in the league, Domantas Sabonis. They have created this unique dynamic duo where Fox is averaging 26, 4, and 5. He's a good player. Now, I would like to see, in order for him to crack this top 5, I would like to see him kind of take it up a notch. And not necessarily like he already is a pretty ball-dominant player, but I'd like to see like the explosive games where, if he wants to crack this top 5, as some of these other players have done, he's going to need to, one, manhandle when he's on defense, he needs to manhandle that other point guard. And I don't see that a whole lot. Yes, he gets a lot of steals, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're a good defender. LaMelo Ball gets a lot of steals too, but he's not a great defender. Even Trae Young gets a decent amount of steals, not a great defender. He needs to, I want to see those stops. I want to see like on the ball, better defense from him and just being more of a vocalized leader too. I feel like a lot of times he's very quiet. Like he has a quiet 20, 26 points a game, Of course, Sacramento fans are going to hate me for this one because he's not in the top 5, especially since number 5 is the guy that they traded for to get Sabonis, which is Tyrese Halliburton. A lot of this has to do, Tyrese, before he got injured, was a solidified All-NBA player. He ended up making All-NBA third team this year, and with that, he averaged a double-double, 23 and 10. 10 assists with that run-and-gun offense, and it's only going to get better. The sky's the limit for Tyrese Halliburton, becoming one of the best passers in this league, if not the best passer in the league. He's up there with guys like Jokic and LeBron as some of the best passers. Also, Curry is on that list of best passers in the league. And Halliburton is solidifying him. And also, he's taking this opportunity on Team USA to really, I believe we're going to have a big jump from him because of he's going to be playing with all those vets, LeBron, Curry, Kevin Durant, etc., that he's going to absorb as much information as he can. So he's got all the keys to take it even a step further. At number 4 here, I have Jalen Brunson. Now, Jalen, there's an argument to put him up in the top 3, and I'll go over reasons of why I didn't put him number 3. Now, this is one of the very first seasons we've seen him on his own, being that number 1 option, and he did not shy away from those performances. He fits really well in the Tom Thibodeau system, playing a lot of minutes, and then playing like with the grit and grind bulldog kind of sense that Tom Thibodeau loves. He definitely proved he can be a number 1 option and carry a team through the playoffs as he did. Now, of course, injuries definitely hindered their success. You could see the blood, sweat, and tears that this guy put into his game in order to be here. And there were a huge amount of question marks when he went over to New York from the Dallas Mavericks and how it was quote-unquote overpaying. And I had a lot of question marks on the guy too. And then he proved me wrong on the sense of he just became that number 1 option. Now, is he a number 1 to win a championship? We don't know. We haven't seen that yet. But as of right now, he's a solid, great star in this league, great point guard, and perfect fit over in New York. At number 3, this is the one that's kind of controversial because you could switch him with Brunson specifically. It is Steph Curry. Steph Curry's, he's the greatest shooter of all time. And why he could be number 4 instead of number 3 would be the fact that the Warriors are kind of having a bit of a pretty rough last season. And then this season, the expectation is pretty low for them to succeed in the playoffs. Now, of course, it is the Warriors, and it is Steph Curry. Steph Curry last season averaged 26, 4, and 5, being one of the greatest shooters of all time. He is dominating his matchup every night, no matter who's on him. He does not have bad nights typically, and when he does, that assist number goes up and he finds other players. He makes players around him so much better. So that's why I have him over Brunson. Although Brunson and the Knicks had more success than the Warriors, Steph Curry still one of those top 3 point guards in the league as of right now. At number 2, I think number 2 and number 1 are pretty obvious here. At number 2, I do have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all NBA player, all NBA caliber defender. He averaged 35 and 6, as well as 2 steals per game. Now, I know I said that steals aren't as important on the defensive end because guys like LaMelo, Trae Young get steals, but they're not necessarily good defenders. Shai is locking up his matchup. Shai, he plays at his own pace. No one is going to speed him up. No one is going to slow him down. He is going to control the momentum and the tempo of the game a lot of times, more times than not. He's a top of the West kind of player and a top of the West team that he is on. He's carrying a young roster, and they are only getting better, and it is on his shoulders. All that pressure is on his shoulders, right? If Lou Dort has a bad game, it's not on him. It's on Shai. If J-Dub has a rough game, Chet Holmgren, we're looking at Shai to pick up that slack. So that's why I have him at number 2, and that's because number 1 is Luka Doncic. It's pretty obvious. Luka is one of the best players in the league. He averaged the most points per game this last season, 33.9, along with 9 and 9.8 assists, so nearly averaging a triple-double while being one of the best players in the league on a team that went to the finals alongside not having a whole lot of other offense around him. Yes, he had Kyrie, but besides the two of them, they struggled in the finals to score. Now, what I will say is he also was dealing with an injury, clearly. He's got a slow, along with Shai, how Shai, no one is going to speed him up. No one is going to speed up Luka at all. He plays extremely slow, and it works perfect for him, and he's able to get his shots. He's able to just perform at a high level no matter who's guarding him. The one notch on Luka is sometimes he's got to stop the talking to the refs. He's got to stop the he just does that a lot where he goes through these kind of funks of like he gets in his own head almost because he won't let the last play go because it could have been a foul or should have been a foul. So then he gets frustrated, right? But overall, still the best point guard in the league. Now, what I want to say with this list too, a lot of it has to do with opinion, what I saw on TV, what I watched, what I, looking at stats and everything like that. And then there's some point guards you could see down here like, oh, where's Kyrie? Why is he not on this list? John Morant, why is he not on that list? Someone like that, maybe even James Harden. And then maybe like Devin Booker is a good example. Devin Booker is listed as a point guard for the Phoenix Suns, but I'm going to be realistic. He is a shooting guard who is not a point guard. They're missing a point guard. Kyrie, on the other hand, is listed as a shooting guard and plays more of a shooting guard role for Dallas because he doesn't have the ball in his hands as much. He is the kind of guy that he's playing off of Luka, Luka's not playing off of him. And that's where a lot of these guys come from with the whole point guard. Same, and then John Morant just missed a lot of time, so I didn't feel like it was fair to really rank him. So I kept him off the list. So if you guys did enjoy this video, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel on the road to 12K, just like I stated before. Catch me on Twitter, same handle, the Heart Over Height. And then with that being said, guys, it's been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.